Hi, and welcome to the latest installment, or the latest episode in... No. Hi, and welcome to the latest episode in the Billion Pound Rivalry series. In this episode, we are going to be looking at the big rivalry in Greece, which is Olympiakos versus Panathinaikos. So they're the two big teams in Greece, and the two of the well-knowns, and it's a big rivalry as well. So let's quickly then look at Olympiakos firstly. They've very much been the top team in Greece over the last 20-year period, and probably even further back than that. So fully expecting that to take a while for any major changes in this league, especially with them having the same money. But you never know how, if the other team uses it, if Panathinaikos uses it in a good way, they may overturn that and become the dominant force, but it'll be interesting to see if that happens. Then Panathinaikos, as you can see, they've had a very much an up and down, is probably how you would say it. Looking at them, they've had success in the past, but not so much now, so what we'll do is we'll jump to year 10 and see how things progressed with that, and we'll do sort of 10-year intervals at this stage. So yeah, we'll jump to year 10. It's now 10 years into the game. It's 2029. So let's jump to the Greek league. Let's take a look, see how things have progressed with them. So Olympiakos title holders this season, or last season. But let's just have a quick look at past winners. Yeah, it's still very much been the case that they've maintained their position as the dominant force in the league. Albeit Panathinaikos are now cemented their place as runners-up. So maybe that'll switch around over the next 20 years during this experiment. But let's have a look then, see how things have been for these. So they had one season dip during this period, but nothing major. Let's have a look at transfer history. Spending big money every season. 116 million is their record for transfers, so that's a huge. Was it Nikola Milinkovic? 116 million from PSG on that one, so it's a major upset by them, or not upset, but major purchase by them. Rafa Benitez has been with them now for 5 years, winning 5 leagues, 5 cups. Can't get any better than that. 100% across the board. Let's have a look whether or not they've made any inroads into the European stage. Unfortunately not. They've not been getting through, unfortunately. Let's have a quick look. Previous season they got to the group stage, first knockout round, and they lost to Arsenal. Previously it was again knockout round, but getting through. Quarterfinals, yeah, they got as far as the quarterfinals. Previous season, Champions Cup quarterfinal, they got to the semi-final and they lost after extra time. So they're certainly performing better than they currently are, but they're not winning it, which is where I would ideally want one of these teams to do, to make things a bit more interesting for us. Where do they get to? So Euro Cup quarterfinals again. Seems like they're just missing that opportunity to jump into the major. Just to get into the final would be a major sort of achievement for them. But so far, at least, they're not quite getting there. So definitely using the money wisely, but still just not capable of making that sort of jump up as to where I would like them to be. So with them, manager Roberto Martinez at present. Transfer history, again, they've bought some major players, but they seem to be a lot more cautious with the money, and the ownership seems to be changing a lot more often. After I make the big, this is when I reset it. So I reset it every 5 years. I reset it here, and then they just get consortium, or the president steps down. There's always something that just limits their progression. And like I said, it's 10 years in now, so maybe that will change. But at the moment, I would suspect they're not really gonna. If it continues like this, then it's just gonna be Olympiacos wins everything. In Greece at least, and they're probably our only hope on the European stage as well. So yeah, what we'll do now, we'll jump to the year 20 into the game and see how things have been since then. Okay, so it's the year 20 into the game, which is the year 2039. So what we'll do is we'll jump to the Greek League, take a look, and see how our teams have got off. So, okay, they've made the jump up to title holder last season, Panathinaikos, so that's always good. So let's start with them. And they pretty much continued their unfortunate progression of getting stuck at second. Did win it in 2034-35 season, and then they've won it in the 2038-39 season. So let's have a look how they've been. So competition wise, they've won the cup a couple of times, or a few times actually, and then as you can see, the 3 league titles. Transfer history, they are now spending money again, a bit more freely on this recent one, so there's been a bit steady ownership of presidency for them, so they're spending bigger money, and which is probably why we are getting a bit more performance from them, which is good to see, and it certainly makes things a bit more interesting for us during this experiment. So hopefully that continues with them, and they can truly have an up and down season with the between first and second. Do it blow for blow against Olympiacos. One thing I didn't check quickly is management. Let's have a look. So Martinez was in charge when we left it last, 6 years in. Villas-Boas came in then. He had just under 7 years at the club, and we're now with Daniel Fark, who's 2 years into his reign, winning 1 league, 1 cup, so it's not a bad season. The start to his reign with the club. He's certainly on course to perform better than anyone else so far. So let's jump to Olympiacos now then, see how they've been. So like I said, they've continued their dominance of the Greek League, albeit they've dropped 2 now, in fairly quick, over 5 years, so 3 out of 5 isn't too bad a performance on them. So who's their management then? So Benitez was in charge when we left it last. He stayed there for just over 7 years. Then Antonio Conte came in, just over 3 years, and then Hernan Crespo. He's been there now just under 5 years, so doing very well so far. Benitez was probably the best performing one so far out of them, but yeah, let's have a look. Transfer history then. They had that one big season, and then they've always steadily been spending upwards of 150 million. One dodgy season, that's when they changed ownership, but again it was reset and they've continued spending, so they're always spending about 130, 150 million a season at least, and then others are jumping up to like 300 million. So making big purchases overall throughout the years, to be fair to them. Let's have a look. Have they made any inroads into Europe at least? And unfortunately not. So it's still the elusive European Championship or European tournaments are unfortunately missing out on both so far. So we'll now jump to the year 30 and see how things have progressed. Okay, so this is the final update on the experiment. So it's the year 30 at 2049 into the game. So we'll just jump straight into the Greek League and take a look how things have been for them. Who's been the dominant force, and then we'll have a look through then the rest of the bits on each team. So we'll start with Olympiacos because they've won the title in the most recent season. As you can see, they did have a spell of coming second. In fact, it was a whole 5-year spell looking at that. But they've kind of jumped back up then in the most recent period, getting up to only having one dip in the last 5 seasons. So actually 6 seasons. So 5 out of 6 isn't too bad by them. Reputation is maximum. I put it there on the year 25. I just went in, maxed out everything, maxed out their stadium attendance, maxed out their reputation, reset the funds to $1 billion, just pushed everything to see if I can get that European, sort of title for either of the teams. So, they're maxed out on everything. Let's have a quick look at managers firstly. Crespo was involved. I was at the club when we sort of were last there, and then they've taken. There's been bit of unsettled here, and then Bruno Fernandes is currently at the club now, which doing okay so far. Let's have a look at the competitions. Any European success? And unfortunately not. It looks like they've unfortunately been a bit of a failure in the European competition. This experiment has been with Olympiacos. Let's have a quick look at transfers. And they've been spending huge money, so there's no reason other than they maybe spending it in the wrong place. Because major money spent, but it's just still not enough for them to achieve the elusive European title. Either of them, to be fair, UEFA or Europa, or the Champions League, which is unfortunate. I thought the reputation build up as well might have been enough, but clearly unfortunate in this instance it wasn't. Let's have a look at Panathinaikos, whether or not they've performed any better during their spell. So again, similar scenario. Year 25 maxed out everything for them: reputation, money, facilities, stadium. So let's have a quick look. Management first of all. It was Villas Boas in charge when we left it last. Actually, no, it was Daniel Farke. He was in charge when we left it last. He stayed there for just under 7 years. Then you had Fernandes take over for just under 5 years. But he was sacked due to his performance, I would imagine. Let's have a look. Landmarks. We had a come on, a Europa League win. Okay, finally, at least we had one success. There was it, just the one. And European Super Cup runner-up. That's unfortunate. Been a nice one that would have been to have won both, but at least we got that elusive European title at least. So it wasn't a complete failure with these two teams. But again, definitely good performances. Across the board. Transfer history, let's have a look. They continue spending money. So they've obviously continued spending big money across the board. Having the odd season where things have dropped when changing ownership and so on. Management, we've looked at that. Landmarks we've seen. So overall, you'd have to say Olympiacos probably did better in terms of the league and the Greek Cups, but Panathinaikos did manage to get a European title in there. So which one did better, I'd still say Olympiacos, since they did win a lot more of the league titles. But how much weight do you want to put behind the European title, the Europa League, is obviously down to yourselves. But in my eyes, Olympiacos won this challenge. But it was a good one overall, and it was a good battle between the two at various points. But it was just unfortunate that Panathinaikos got let down by their ownerships. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.